Namaskar, Dr. Gadde. Namaskar, namaskar.
Namaste, sir.
I'm very happy and inspired to see your tenacity and your ambition to continue learning digital ethnography. And as you know, Dr. Gadde, this digital ethnography in India is still emerging. We are trying, and you have been doing very well for the number of weeks. I'm very happy. As you know, and you also say that there are three important components of digital ethnography. If out of three, anyone is missing, it is not ethnography. The first point is that study of the people. The moment you say study of the people, number one, people means their worldview. That you explained last time. That in order to study the ethnography with the people, we begin with the understanding the worldview, the point of view of the community for a particular issue. Say about the forest regeneration, or about a particular culture, or use of medicinal plant, or gender role. So pick up of any issue, what is the worldview of the community for particular? That's the number one. Number two, the worldview is intimately connected with the culture that you explained already. So worldview and the culture, how they practice cultural trait, behavior. And the moment you go for culture, the Tyler's definition, the knowledge and belief system. So the moment you say the knowledge and belief system, it again is linked with the worldview. So if you do not understand worldview very well, you cannot understand the culture of the community. This is anthropology, you know, it's interlinked, it's interdependent. And once you know the culture, how people continue that, then how those cultural practices are the part of their custom, their values, and as Tyler mentioned, how the particular behavior, culture, trait is linked with the compatibility and habit of the community. So the first is understanding people's worldview, second is culture, and third very important point, ethnography, we have to study in the natural environment. So we have to see their natural behavior. And this requires immersion in the field. And that is the longitudinal study. It's not one time go. It's not hit and run. Anthropology is not hit and run. So ethnography requires sound anthropological theoretical knowledge of the worldview, the culture, and their social system, and through the method is participatory observation. And digital technology is using this technology, digital technology, using technology for ethnography study. So technology is a tool. It can be used by many, but using technology with anthropological approach of understanding people, worldview, culture, social system through participatory way will becoming that. So I'm very happy and welcome you to please continue. Yes,
Thank
Dr. Gadde.
Thank you so much, Professor S.B. Roy, sir, for your kind words. And we are so blessed by your gracious presence on the team of training. And thank you for providing the leadership for this digital ethnography for tribal sustainable livelihoods training program. This is our first program initiated by International Institute of Anthropological Applications, which is a virtual institute of Anthropological Association for Humankind. So we spread anthropological applications to address the contemporary issues and to solve the human problems. And anthropology, we redefine anthropology. Anthropology is the holistic and empirical study of people, by people, and for people.
That's right. That's right.
So we want to define that way. That is the reason why the Anthropological Association for Humankind as an organization came into existence, to spread anthropological knowledge and methods and to develop applications and to address the contemporary issues, to provide the solutions for human suffering and pain and hunger, or whatever the discomforts that humanity is undergoing across the nations of this world. So that is the major vision and focus that we are heading. So as part of that process, and to convert the vision into reality, we have to begin somewhere. So this is the first step that we have initiated with Professor S.B. Reiser. I am so thankful to him for his kind acceptance and generosity of time. He is giving sufficient time for this course, and giving much attention and taking pains, even though he's at the age of 79. And he has a great concern for nation building, and also he has doing excellent work in the tribe for tribals and their development and empowerment. So a practitioner, an anthropologist by practitioner. So having a 35 years of rich experience of in the development field. So thank you, sir, for your insights and encouragement. Young generation, like us, we take inspiration from you, sir. Thank you so much.
That's it.
So
now, one point I will add, Dr. Gadde,
sir,
for digital ethnography, the technology is one. Anthropological knowledge for understanding people, culture, natural environment, their behavior is the theoretical background. But how to connect people? Since the digital ethnography means we have to connect people digitally. And through digital technology, we have to interview, observe, understand as a longitudinal study. That means we need to get connected with the people frequently for a longer duration. The challenges come in digital ethnography about connecting people and having a societal platform. A societal platform, if you make there, then you can talk to them, establish rapport, get emotionally connected. They will enjoy, they will wait for your call, they will like it. So development of societal platform for connecting people for a longer, frequent duration is very important. And that is why we find difficulty whom to contact, how to contact. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Today, my presentation will be on dear participants and the friends, you are welcome to take part in this session. And I'm so excited to present the insights that I have learned while I'm reading the literature and thinking and reflecting over the things which I read. So I have prepared a PowerPoint. Let me share that with you. Doing ethnography in a digital world. Yeah. The objectives of this presentation is to understand what is a digital world. And the second objective is to understand the principles of digital ethnography. And we will also try to cover the frameworks to undertake digital ethnography theoretical frameworks part also we will try. Yeah, in the previous session, we have previous session and the past two sessions, I have been discussing about the concept of the worldview and how worldview functions and how worldview controls and governs the cultures. So today, when we are thinking of doing digital ethnography, so we should understand what does it mean by digital. So digital ethnography, uh, digital ethnography outlines an approach to doing ethnography in a contemporary world. It invites researchers to consider how we live and research in a digital, material, and sensory environment. This is not a static world or environment. Rather, it is one in which we need to know how to research in it as it develops and changes. Digital ethnography also explores the consequences of the presence of digital media in shaping the techniques and processes through which we practice ethnography, and accounts for how the digital methodological, practical, and theoretical dimensions of ethnographic research are increasingly intertwined. This majority of this presentation is taken from a book called Digital Ethnography, Principles and Practice by Shara Pink. And there are multiple others, Heather Horst and et al. So, yeah. What is digital, by the way? When we try to understand the worldview, what are the means, what are the ways to understand and discover the worldview of a given people group or a community that we study? So the first phenomena that come across is the language, the words. Native language is the vehicle for the culture. The language is the vehicle of culture, people say. So for us to understand the local culture and their worldview and their cognitive domain, their evaluative domain, or their affective domain, to go deeper into the capability domain, or and also the reflective domain, what are the means, what are the ways that we can really understand the local meanings, the local interpretations, local the conceptions and local frameworks of explaining their own worldview, their own the experiences, how do they express their anger, and what are the words, how do they express their feelings of affection and love, and what are the words. So the words are the things that we get engaged with. When we enter the field, what are the polite words and what are the acceptable words, what are the most convenient and comfortable words in the given people group context that are healthy for us to use, so that the rapport building and acceptable entry into the community can be facilitated. Those are the things we need to have understanding. So in the similar way, in our present context, doing ethnography in the digital world, or how to do digital ethnography, how to get engaged in the digital ethnography. So what are the key words that we need to get familiar with? So those are the things will give us the meaning for digital, what the dictionary definition of the digital, what is the actual definition of the digital world, what are the emerging meanings, what are the meanings in transition, what are the emerging conceptions, what are the new possibilities for theorization and generalization and conceptualization, what are the possibilities that we can explain the human experience in the digital world. So we are entering into the digital world. What does it mean by digital? What does it mean by digital world? What does it mean by digital space? What does it mean by digital transformation? What does it mean by what are the components that constitute digital world, and how do they work? What are their interdependencies, and what are their mutual contributions? What are the networking among the components? All those things. So we want to dig deeper, being trained in ethnography, and we want to apply the ethnographic methods for in the digital spaces, and to discover the digital worldview, and what is going on in the minds of the people that are in whose lives this digital technology and digital media presence is having impact. Either it is positive or whether it is negative, we are going to discover. But whatever the digital the jargon that comes under digital worldview, that is important for us. So 50% of this presentation will focus on understanding the meanings in the conceptions that are important for the digital digital world, digital ethnography. So, hello, am I audible to you? Hello?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very much.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Something is,
Yes.
okay. Yeah. So what is digital world? What is digital? Digital is it an adjective or noun, or is it about signals or data expressed as a series of the digits 0 and 1, typically represented by values of a physical quantity such as voltage or magnetic polarization? These are the words that I found when I'm searching for the dictionary meaning. So this is the kind of meaning I found. But or something bigger. What is digital? Or something bigger or beyond? What does it mean by digital? When we use the word digital, what does it mean for the people who are who are the stakeholders of this digital world? So participants' point of view. So before we enter into that kind of interaction, let us have what is the existing definitions, because we have not yet entered into the conversation with our key informants to get their definition of what is digital. Before going to that step further, let us focus on the first step. What is the available literature says about what is digital? So when I'm trying to figure out these are the few lines that came to me on internet. A digital thing is a process of virtualization. That is how things are taken from real world and put them into virtual world. So, for example, there is a text available in the published book, but it is not available online. So to translate into the virtual existence of that book, we need to type it and store it and preserve it and make it available for others to be visible on the digital spaces. So that is what we call virtualization. So a digital thing is a process of virtualization. That is how things are taken from real world and put them into virtual world. Oh, 1 minute. I'm trying to, yeah. Okay. What is digital? Digital is it, yeah, we have already finished this slide. What is digital world? See 0, 1, we see some coding, and one man is trying to understand what is going on. So what is digital world? We are perfect strangers to this area. We are trying to understand the digital world to getting, we have already begun the process of doing ethnography and trying to understand what is there available on the digital spaces, on the internet and websites and kind of thing. So what is digital? The phrase digital is most commonly used in when defining digital fluency and digital literacy. Interesting. Digital fluency and digital literacy. The digital world is the availability and use of digital tools to communicate on the internet, digital devices and smart devices and other technologies. So digital world is most commonly used. The phrase digital world is most commonly used in when defining digital fluency and digital literacy. The digital world is the availability and use of digital tools to communicate on the internet, digital devices and smart devices and other technologies. Digital world consists of cloud computing, big data and analytics, social networks, broadband wireless and wireline connections, and smart and connected things ranging from thermostats to jet planes. So we are trying to understand what is out there in the digital world and what does it mean by digital and what is the world, a digital world made up of. So digital world consists of cloud computing, big data and analytics, social networks, broadband wireless and as well as the wireline connections and smart and connected things ranging from thermostats to jet planes. Wow, this is a huge scope. Digital world offers opportunities to be enabled, complemented, and extended through information excellence, including real-time dynamic optimization algorithms and the seamless fusion of physical and virtual worlds. This is very interesting. What digital world has to offer to the people, to humans. This is very important. Let me repeat. The digital world offers opportunities to be enabled, complemented, and extended through information excellence, including real-time dynamic optimization algorithms and the seamless fusion of physical and virtual worlds. That's very interesting. Okay, to understand the components of the to understand the components that constitute the digital world, we come across the phrase called digital literacy, digital fluency, and digital tools, and what digital world has to offer to humans. Those are the things we are trying to understand. So in that process, let me read few lines regarding the digital fluency. What is digital literacy? Digital literacy means having the skills you need to live, learn, and work in a society where communication and access to information is increasingly through digital technologies like internet platforms, social media platforms, and mobile devices. Digital literacy means having the skills you need to live, learn, and work in a society where communication and access to information is increasingly through digital technologies like internet platforms, social media, and mobile devices. Digital literacy refers to an individual's ability to find, evaluate, and clearly communicate information through typing or other media on various digital platforms. It is evaluated by the individual's grammar, composition, typing skills, and ability to produce text, images, audio, and designs using technology. So digital literacy is important concept that when we try to understand the humans and the influence of digital media and digital technologies on humans, we need to understand their digital literacy. Digital fluency, what does it mean? Digital fluency is the aptitude to effectively and ethically interpret information, discover meaning, design content, construct knowledge, and communicate ideas in a digitally connected world. This is digital fluency, very critical competency. Digital fluency, I see it as a competency acquired by the humans in the digital world. So to understand the worldview, we need to understand one of the domain I have already mentioned in the human competencies framework to discover the worldview of a given people group. So we need to understand their acquired competencies. What are the competencies that are in place, already acquired by the people, and why do they acquire that competency? That gives us a lot of message and in the context, and it gives us a clue to their adaptational, operational, sustaining, service delivery competencies, and those other competencies which are useful for their survival, not only for survival, but also for their flourishment. So digital fluency and digital literacy are the important competencies acquired by the citizens or humans of the digital world. Digital fluency is the aptitude to effectively and ethically interpret the available information, discover meaning, design content, construct knowledge, and communicate ideas in a digitally connected. This is a huge and very powerful competency. And further, digital fluency is the the competency, and also we need to understand what are the digital spaces. Digital spaces is important component. The humans regularly it becomes a part and parcel of their life. So this term plays a crucial role. So the term digital spaces refers to what is played on the screen of a digital device. Example, laptops, computers, tablets, or smartphones. And what can be displayed in digital spaces is vast and diverse, and can take countless forms. the home screen of the device, applications or apps, movies, photos, and the website all occupy digital space. So the digital, what are the available applications for the individual under study on his digital space? So digital spaces or the places, mediating spaces where an ethnographer and the party key informants and the participants with whom we want to undertake and engage in the digital ethnography. So digital spaces play a crucial role. So these terms digital and digital world and digital fluency and digital literacy and digital spaces, digital tools. All these things are very important to have a clear understanding so that we will not be confused and when we write or interact with the people. The term digital spaces refers to what is displayed on the screen of the digital device. For example, laptops and computers and tablets or smartphones. What can be displayed on the digital spaces is vast in its coverage and diverse, and can take countless forms. The home screen of the device, applications, movies, photos, and the website all occupy digital space. So digital tools, what are the digital tools that are available to the people that we want to study? So digital tools for classroom, people say smart classroom, or some people say digital classroom. What are the tools available for the digital classroom? That is the interesting thing. So I want to give some examples of what are the for digital classroom, what are the worldwide what are the things that we can think of when the concept of digital tools that come to our mind. Let me give you some examples. For example, digital tools for classroom, how in the digital world, how it happens, and what are the things and what are the influences, and those things to understand. So let me give some examples. For example, there is certainly no shortage of tech-based tools to use in the classroom. In this digital classroom, in this context, we need to understand some of the available digital tools. For example, Socrative is a digital tool available online for the digital classroom. So in this tool, Socrative professes to be your classroom app for fun, effective classroom engagement. In a nutshell, it is a cloud-based student responses system, allowing teachers to immediately test the student understand by way of mini quizzes assigned to them on class laptops or tablets. Quizzes can be multiple choices, graded short answer, true or false, or open-ended short responses. Socrates' strength lies in its on-the-fly assessment method, providing teachers with valuable and timely feedback about the students. You see, teachers are for the teachers to have the feedback on their students on the virtual platform. Socrative is a digital tool available. So through this digital tool, they conduct many on digital activities, and they engage the students and get the feedback they wanted from their students. Another digital tool available online is Scratch. Scratch is a simple, fun, and engaging introduction to programming designed specifically for 8 to 16 years olds. Users can combine music, graphics, and photos to create interactive games and animations and slideshows. All of their creations are shareable with others in the students' online community. It's important to note that Scratch will really only teach programming concepts, not so much real, authentic programming. It gives a basic impetus or a clue of how the programming is done, but this is the digital tool available for students during the age group of 8 to 16 years old. Even my son, he's 8 years old. He develops some animations using by this Scratch. You see how students are really fully immersed and engaged in developing some, unpacking their creativity and applying their reasoning and logic, and try to design and share with their friends and laugh together virtually and share things and kind of thing. So another digital tool for digital classroom is Prezi. According to Prezi, creating and giving and tracking beautiful interactive presentations is as easy as 1, 2, 3 with their cloud-based presentation software. Prezi presentations are nothing like your traditional presentations, zooming in and zooming out and moving side to side across one single very attractive and modern canvas, focusing on images and videos inputted by the user. Prezi is very popular and consistently receives excellent reviews. See, these are some of the tools, and there are 10 digital tools that I have collected online, and to give you a clue how the digital classroom, if somebody is interested to undertake digital ethnography on the digital classroom. So what are the ways and what are the tools and what are the methods, and how do we engage in ethnography in a digital world? So for that kind of a thing, I think digital tools for the classroom, there are plenty available online. Just for example, I'm giving you these things. So there is another digital tool, Quizlet, and Google Classroom, another one, and Adobe Spark Video, and Khan Academy, Seesaw, and another one, and Class Dojo. So yeah, these are some of the examples for digital tools for classroom and digital tools for healthcare. And we are living in a pandemic time, and the digital tools for healthcare are very useful. And there are patient portals, and also to save time, to save cost, and to save to avoid confusion, to avoid waiting in the long queues, and these digital tools are very useful for patients, and also patient attendants, and also for doctors and healthcare management professionals. So it is very useful. So in the similar lines, what are the digital tools for marketing? What are the digital tools for delivering the governance, and on and on we can go. So this digital tool concept and digital spaces and digital fluency, digital literacy. Why I'm trying to take time to focus on these key jargon or phrases, because digital world do matters. The digital jargon do matters, and these digital technologies, how really they make difference in humans, in their industries, in their products and services, and many other aspects of their life, to be successful in their careers, in the workplace, in the families, in the neighborhood, and to how these digital tools and digital spaces, the time on the digital spaces, and how they're engaged, all these things really matters. For example, let me give, there is a book called Digital Disciplines. In my next session, I'm going to focus on this book as well. I'm taking one small example. It's not small, it's a huge example. For example, the people who exploit the digital world, and what digital world has to offer. So some companies are advanced and eagerly and actively engaged in tapping and mapping the resources provided by the digital world, so that they're infusing that digital the knowledge and the techniques, the tools and the advantages, and the best services offered by the digital world into their business. When they are that much agile and to integrate these digital technologies and what digital world has to offer for them, then they became a dominating presence in this digital world, and they're making lots of money, and their business is extending globally, and they become digital giants, not only in the business and their presence, in providing their products and services, and kind of thing. For example, Amazon versus borders. Amazon became number one, succeeded because it was successfully and exploiting and using all their energies and spending lots of money integrating these digital energies and competencies, empowering their human resources to integrate all these things into the business. So Amazon become the dominant in the business over the borders. So even though in the beginnings they have similar kind of the businesses, but Amazon become the dominant because of the tapping the wisdom, the knowledge, the tools, the techniques, the methods, and this what the digital world has to offer to them. Kind of Netflix versus Blockbuster. Netflix became the dominant present in the digital world because of the same exploiting and using the all possible ways to integrate the digital ways of improving the products and services and integrating with the people and connecting on all those things. So Wikipedia and versus Encyclopedia Britannica. So Wikipedia became dominant, even though Encyclopedia has long-standing credible academic presence, and the Wikipedia, because of its presence in the online and it's using the all possible connections and the advantages provided by this digital world. So digital world do matters. So this is very crucial to understand. So this is why we are spending time here to understand what is digital literacy, what is digital fluency, what are the digital tools, what the digital world has to offer to humans. And for example, WhatsApp versus telco-based texting. WhatsApp became the dominant in that ways that it offers the services and products to humans across the globe. So why it became the dominant? It is integrating all possible ways that digital world has to offer, and it is first to integrate and fusion of the physical and the virtual things together, and to offer the to added advantage to the customers at the same time for them as well. So in serving the customers, in attending to the needs of the customers, what are the smart ways, what are the digital ways that can be that can improve their not only business but also their services to the customers. You see why digital world matters. For examples, we can go on and on by giving examples like this, even from our Indian context as well. We can think, just I'm giving you a clue to understand what why digital world matters and why we need to understand the components of digital world and the that constitute the digital that occupy the digital spaces. Digital world, cloud computing. Uh, we are in this different world that is called digital world. So we come across frequently cloud computing, cloud engineering. So we need to get acquainted with this jargon and phrases. And also we should get familiarity with the meaning and also implications and also applications. What are the applications of the cloud computing? And all these things. As ethnographers, we go deeper, we go wider on the depth and width and scope and the everything we want to see in and out. So cloud computing is the latest buzzword in the IT sector, information technology sector. So it has changed the way IT solutions are delivered and consumed by the end users. When you update your Facebook status, you are using cloud computing. When you use the net banking, again, you are into the cloud. There is a strong possibility that you may depend on cloud services to solve the challenges faced by your business. Whether we talk about the operating system, databases, web services, web servers, IP addresses, or virtual local area networks, cloud computing is heavily used everywhere. Even the latest technologies, IoT, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, AI, advanced robotics, and drones, self-driving cars, blockchain are also relying on cloud computing. This is very interesting. This gives us a lot of navigation into the future, what the future is going to be like in the digital world, how this physical world, physical, when we see the sky, the earth, it seems everything same, but everything changes. Simply put together, as the author of the digital discipline says, simply put together, everything seems same, but everything changes, kind of thing. So yeah, let me repeat this cloud computing. What does it mean? Cloud, what are the applications of cloud computing? And cloud computing is the latest buzzword in IT sector. It has changed the way IT solutions are delivered and consumed by the end users. When you update your Facebook status, you are using cloud computing. When you use net banking, again, you are into the cloud. there is a strong possibility that you may depend on cloud services to solve the challenges faced by your business. Whether we talk about the operating system, the databases, web servers, IP addresses, or virtual local area networks, cloud computing is heavily used everywhere. Even the latest technologies, IoT, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, AI, advanced robotics, and drones, self-driving cars, blockchain are also relying on cloud computing. Some facts and trends about cloud computing. IBM, Google, Microsoft all are making big bets on cloud computing, and that's for good reasons. In July 2019, IBM spent $34 billion to acquire Red Hat and boost its cloud business. According to research from Gartner forecasts, public cloud revenues exceed $266.4 billion in 2020. You see how faster and how beyond our imagination it is going, like a jet speed, with a jet speed is going. So according to the research from Gartner and forecasts public clouds revenues, according to research from Gartner, forecasts public cloud revenues exceed $266.4 billion in 2020. The adoption of cloud computing in the world is gaining momentum and will continue to do so. Public cloud adoption grew to 92% in 2018. In 2018, serverless had a market share of 50%. Making it the fastest growing extended cloud service. So serverless services, so it has already reached the 50% back in 2018. 84% of enterprises run on a multi-cloud strategy. Modi government's Digital India initiative is based on cloud technology. Wow. Impressive, amazing. So we appreciate our Prime Minister Modi for this initiative. Beautiful. Thanks to the government. So for initiating Digital India project. So Modi's government's Digital India initiative is based on cloud technology, Tata Consultancy Services, Central CTRLS and Wipro, Infosys, all these Indian IT majors have adopted cloud computing technologies. The number of mobile users is more than the desktop users, and this huge user base plays a vital role for a shift to the cloud. The number of mobile users is more than the desktop users, and this huge user base plays a vital role for a major shift to the cloud. Cloud computing. You see what are the applications of this cloud computing, and how do this connect with the people that receive the services, or directly, consciously, or subconsciously, or unconsciously, or they are using, knowing, or to put it a different way, knowingly or unknowingly, people are using the applications of the cloud computing, and how these applications are going to impact humans and study. That's where we gradually move towards the research, developing the research interest and the problem, and approaching and developing the tools to collect. So this cloud computing, what are its applications and benefits, and smart uses for the smart citizens of the digital world. Big data is another concept which is very important to understand. So let us attempt to understand. Big data is a term that describes the large volume of data, both structured and unstructured, that that inundates a business on a day-to-day basis. Big data, let me repeat, big data is a term that describes the large volume of data, both structured and unstructured, that inundates a business on a day-to-day basis. But it's not the amount of data that's important. But big data can be analyzed for insights, which are very important, that lead to better decisions and strategic business moves. We see big data is how crucial it is. Big data is a term that describes the large volumes of data, both structured and unstructured, that inundates a business on a day-to-day basis. But it's not the amount of data that's important, but big data has to do something more. So big data has to offer something more. Big data can be analyzed for insights that lead to better decisions and strategic business moves. Why big data matters for understanding the digital world and the ongoing influencers and the people who got influenced, and how things are happening in the digital world. What is the role of big data and why big data matters for us ethnographers who are engaged in the digital world. So Doug Lenny articulated the now mainstream definition of big data as the 3 V's: volume, velocity, and variety. Let's understand volume. Big data in the context of volume. Organizations collect data from a variety of sources, including business transactions, smart IoT devices, industrial equipment, videos, social media, and more. In the past, storing it would have been a problem. In the past, storing it would have been a problem, but cheaper storage on platforms like data lakes and Hadoop have eased the burden. The volume of data available, the volume of information, where to store, the volume of information. Organizations collect data from a variety of sources, including business transactions, smart IoT devices, industrial equipment, videos, social media, and more. In the past, storing it would have been a problem, but cheaper storage on the platforms like data lakes and Hadoop have eased the burden. Velocity, another component of the big data. The speed, the velocity means the speed. With the growth in the Internet of Things, data streams into businesses. With the growth in the Internet of Things, data streams into businesses at an unprecedented speed and must be handled in a timely manner. RFID tags, sensors, and smart meters are driving the need to deal with these torrents of data in near real time. This is important component of big data. Velocity, huge data. For example, we are living in a surveillance era. We are under surveillance wherever we go to the office, on the road, also in Hyderabad, on all roads. Webcam cameras are fixed on the electricity poles, and the entire traffic is under surveillance, and every person going, moving, everything is tapped. So That's a good development. For example, in Hyderabad. So this CC cameras are fixed in Hyderabad everywhere. So to have a monitoring and huge data, government will be getting through that CC cameras, huge data accumulation, and how to handle it, and how to within no time to catch the person who, whether a thief or some person, the accident happened, and all this data, and to track things within no time. To the velocity matters. Not only volume of the data collected, but also velocity of things, the speed. That's why this component of the big data is very crucial. Um, uh, with the growth of the Internet of Things, data streams into businesses at an unprecedented speed, and must be handled in a timely manner. RFID tags and sensors and smart meters are driving the need to deal with these torrents of data in near real time. So again, the third component of the big data is variety. Data comes in all types of formats, from structured numeric data in traditional databases to unstructured test documents, emails, videos, audios, stock ticker, and data, and the financial transactions, all these things, varieties of data, and the huge volumes of data are or there. So we need speed to get some insights, and for the benefit of the companies or the governments or the individuals, whoever you wants to tap what the big data has to offer. There are another two V's, variability and veracity. These are the recently added to the concept of Doug Lenny's articulation. They were the concept of big data, and another two V's, or variability and veracity, are added to this big data. To understand what it means, we are trying to understand the cognitive domain. What are their meanings? What are their logic? What are their reasoning? What are the words, and that cognitive, and what are the perception of the people that use the digital devices or digital technologies, or they interact with the digital spaces and use the digital tools, and we are trying to understand the components that constitute digital world. To get engaged in the ethnography endeavor in a digital world, we need to understand the irreducible minimum. It is irreducible minimum for us to understand what it means by cloud computing, what it means by big data, kind of thing. So in the process, we are trying to dig deeper into the meanings of these phrases, big data. So in the process, variability. In addition to the increasing velocities and varieties of data, data flows are unpredictable, changing often and varying greatly. It's challenging, but businesses need to know when something is trending in social media, and how to manage daily, seasonal, and event-triggered peak data loads. So the variability. So that is another component added to make us understand what it means by big data. So veracity refers to the quality of data because data comes from so many different sources. It's difficult to link, match, cleanse, and transform data across systems. Businesses need to connect and correlate relationships, hierarchies, and multiple data linkages. Let me repeat. Businesses need to connect and correlate relationships, hierarchies, and multiple data linkages. Otherwise, their data can quickly spiral out of control. Otherwise, their data can quickly spiral out of control. You see, the veracity, the truthfulness of the available data, the variability, the variety, the volume, and velocity, all these 5 components help us to understand what big data means. Let's continue to understand when architecting a data management platform for analytics, there are key components that are fundamentally necessary in building out a data pipeline. These data pipelines are becoming increasingly complex and have to deal with hundreds of sources, systems on premises and in the cloud, and perhaps thousands of sensors and machines. A data pipeline must collect, integrate, cleanse, prepare, relate, protect, and deliver trusted data at scale and at the speed of business. You see how important the role played here. The big data is based on the big data. The data pipelines are created. What are the functions of these data pipelines? When architecting a data management platform for analytics, there are key components that are fundamentally necessary in building out a data pipeline. These data pipelines are becoming increasingly complex and having to deal with hundreds of source systems and perhaps thousands of sensors and machines. A data pipeline must collect data, integrate it, clean it, prepare it, relate it, protect it, and deliver the trusted data to scale and at the speed of business. At the massive scale and to the huge business speed to cater the needs of the business and its speed and the cater the different needs of the data, the content. So data at the scale, the massive data. So the data is collected from variety of sources, and variety of data is there. Data which is collected is very various, diverse in its content. Data is collected from variety of sources. Data is diverse and variety from the sources collected, and the volume of the data is huge, unprecedented volumes of data is generated, and the velocity component is important to cater the business needs and to timely available, and all these components are veracity, whether the available data is true, dependable, trustworthy, and can the decisions be made based on the insights given by the big data and the data pipelines, all these things. So the truth of the information, the veracity component is added to the big this thing. So data pipelines and or complex in in collecting the data, integrating the data, cleaning the data, preparing the data, relating the data, protecting the data, delivering the trusted data at scale, at the speed of business. That is why the understanding the big data, the conception of the big data, while we engage in ethnography of the digital world. So it is important. Yes. So till now we have come across with a few words, phrases that are useful for broadening of our vision, what it means about digital world, and digital space, digital tools, digital fluency, digital literacy, and cloud computing, and big data conception, and data pipelines, and all these things. So why we try to understand all these things? So we try to figure out what is there already in the cognitive domain of the worldview of the digital world. We need a theory to interpret. We need a theory to interpret the world around us. That theory is embedded in the concept of worldview. But to understand and also to begin our to understand the digital world and to begin our ethnography, digital ethnography, we need to some principles, some rules, or some laws to get engaged when we have a clear research problem or the issue that which is interesting to us, to move further. So there are some Shara Pink, and Heather Horst, John Postil, and Larissa Jort, Tanya Lewis, Joe Tachi, together collaboratively, they have written a book which is used for present presentation of mine. For that book, they have prescribed 5 principles of digital ethnography. So these principles, so we need to keep in our mind while we engage in digital ethnography. So the quotations which I'm going to present is from this book called Digital Ethnography. So this is Digital Ethnography Principles and Practice, written by the bunch of authors. So yes, so in this book we find 5 principles of digital ethnography. Yeah, the first 50% of my presentation is over. We attempted to understand key jargon or key phrases that we day to day, in every day, we come across hearing these words. So what does it mean? So all these meanings I collected from internet. So to acknowledge, so those things are not mine, and I collected from different parts of the internet. So yeah, now the rest of my presentation is focused on these 5 principles of digital ethnography prescribed by the Professor Shara Pink and the Heather Host and other authors of this book. So these are the pioneering authors in this field of digital ethnography and digital anthropology. Daniel Miller is another author who wrote digital anthropology. I have already prescribed some textbooks for in our Deep Hang group, or digital ethnography practicing in action group. So in that group, I have posted some textbooks, names of the textbooks referred for our training course in digital ethnography for development. So now let us focus on these 5 principles. These principles, first, number 1 principle is multiplicity. Multiplicity. And the second principle is non-digital centricness. Third principle is openness. Fourth principle is reflexivity. And the fifth one is unorthodoxy. These are the 5 principles these authors have prescribed for us, ethnographers who want to engage in digital ethnography, undertake research in digital world. So multiplicity, there is more than one way to engage with the digital world. Yes, multiplicity, the principle is important. Multiplicity is means there is more than one way to engage with the digital world. We need to keep in mind how digital technologies and media and the things that people can do with them are interdependent with the infrastructures of everyday life. This is interesting observation. Thanks to these wonderful authors that prescribe this principle of multiplicity to keep in our mind when we approach the digital world. We need to keep in mind how digital technologies and media and the things that people can do with them are interdependent with the infrastructures of everyday life. For example, digital media need to be powered by a reliable energy source. They need to be able to be used by the research participants whose lives and media use we are interested in studying. Let me repeat. They need to be able to used by the research participants whose lives and the media use we are interested in studying. They also need to be functional enough to for researchers to be able to use them for field work. Perhaps more significantly, the infrastructures that exist to support digital media use have a clear impact on both the participants in research and the researchers. The second principle is, I hope you understand the multiplicity principle. There are a lot of interdependencies. The digital technologies, power supply, the infrastructure, and also reliable, and also the people, for us as well as for the participants or the key informants. These multiplicity of the interconnectivity, multiplicity, we need to understand when we engage in the digital ethnography. Non-digital centricness. The non-digital centricness. The digital is decentered in digital ethnography. This is interesting principle. We need to think a lot about this. The idea that media studies scholars might take what has been called a non-media centric approach in experiencing something of a revival in media studies and media anthropology. Based on that, these authors propose non-digital centricness. This in media studies, one approach is getting revived. That approach is non-media centric approach. What does it mean by non-media centric? Approach is experiencing something of revival in media studies. So in the similar lines, the authors of the book Digital Ethnography and Principles and Practice, they prescribe non-digital centricness. The digital is decentered in digital ethnography. We have been assuming and understanding that the digital component and the real life experiences, they have become co-inhibiting, coexisting, and become part and parcel of life. At some point, people are not able to imagine their life without these digital devices, digital spaces, and digital world experiences. So, but when we come to the ground and try to engage with in the digital ethnography, these authors are suggesting us to dethrone digital, to decentered digital. So throw away the digital and let us do while we do digital ethnography. How is it possible? How is it possible? This needs much deeper understanding. Such approaches decenter media as the focus of media research in order to acknowledge the ways in which media are separable, media are inseparable from the other activities. I'm trying to read for you some lines from these same authors, and they try to explain the idea of the non-media centric approach. After that, they suggest the non-digital centric approach or principle to engage in digital ethnography. So they explain the media, such approaches like decenter media as a focus of media research in order to acknowledge the ways in which media are inseparable from the other activities, technologies, materialities, and feelings through which they are used, experienced, and operate. Indeed, for anthropologists, even those who call themselves media anthropologists, the idea of studying media in a way that always put media at the center of analysis would be problematic because it would pay too little attention to the ways in which media are part of wider sets of environments and relations. That's interesting observation. Moreover, we often find when doing ethnographic research, by approaching research questions indirectly, that is through something that is related to that is related in some fundamental way to the very thing we wish to learn about, we can often produce novel insights that tell us more about what underlies the findings of research. These kinds of insights are difficult to find through standard interview or survey methods. What these authors are trying to say and communicate with us, these authors, Sarah Pink and others, they're very smart. So they have prescribed this, they have adopted the principle of the approach, similar approach, media non-digital centricness is a parallel thing copied by from a non-media centric approach. what this non-media centric approach, or what non-digital centric approach, what are these people are trying to do, and while they engage in a media anthropology or digital ethnography? What? I want to ask you questions here. What do you understand? Let us spend a few minutes here for discussion. At the end, I will bring my observations. My dear friends, dear participants, what do you understand? Non-media centric approach, what does it mean? What media anthropologists do? They study the relationship between media and people, and the impact of media on people. And non-media centric approach to study people. Do you get any clue here? They're trying to understand the impact of media on people, but their approach is non-media centric approach to study people. Do you get any clue here? This is the principle, one of the 5 principles suggested by these famous digital ethnographers for our to keep it in our minds. So please unmute your mic, unmute your mics, and try one after one. If you can share, that will be interesting. Who is the first person to go? Please go ahead. You can try. After that, we can go to non-digital centricness approach. Hello. Am I audible to you, my dear friends?
Yeah, very much, sir. Very much,
Yes,
sir.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you. Please respond to my question, and I request you. I humbly request you to participate and contribute your part. What do you understand about non-media centric approach? How do this media anthropology apply? What does it mean? But anyway, what is the meaning of it? How should we do it? That is the question. While we study the impact. Oh yeah, go ahead. While we study the impact of media on people and cultures, we need to decenter media in our approach. Oh, this is resound. I don't know how to. So please, some of you discussion. I will mute my mic.
Sir, what I understand from here is, though media plays a vital role in communicating the information, yet media should not be the central point of our approach. We have, to my understanding, is media should be used as a technology to understand the people. That is what I got it, sir.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much. Is there any other person? Hello, madam. Will you please repeat the thing which you told?
Sir, though media, it's one of the, I should say, the technique, or should I put it that it is one of the media where we have to, it is used vastly to reach to the people. But what it means is that media should not be the focal point. Our focal point is with the help of media, we have to understand the people. So understanding people with the help of the media is the non-media centric approach.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Thank you for your understanding. But you see, try to understand people with the help of media is media-centric approach. uh, Try to understand people with the help of media is media-centric. Non-media-centric means we don't ask which channel you are watching, which channel of TV. Before I say, is there any other person try to contribute or share your opinions? Um, yeah, okay. We don't try to which channel you are watching and which story you remember or which content you got from the media channels. Those things we are not going to ask. We are not going to frame any question from the media point of view, but we will frame questions indirectly. How is your relationship with your wife? How is your relationship with your children? How is your relationship with your neighbors? Are you spending time for your with your parents? How it is really going on, kind of thing. So no component of media came in my questions, but indirectly, when they respond to my questions, yeah, my wife, myself, we have some understanding problems because she's watching some channel where they altogether different worldview they're inculcating, but our cultural worldview is different. But my wife is addicted to the media channel, and that kind of worldview she's subscribing without her knowledge, her feelings, her emotions altogether reoriented. So our relationship is in problem. We never asked which channel is damaging your family relationship. Never. We did not ask any question, media centric question, but we are asking non-media centric question indirectly to figure out the impact of media channels on the family relationship. For example, just I gave a wife and husband relationships, vice versa. See, and also how much time are you able to spend with your parents? You know, what to say? All my time is going to interesting channels only. In fact, my parents and myself were watching together the same channels, but we never talk to each other. You see, sitting side by side, but never interacting, never having any kind of productive, meaningful, relational conversations. But just they're living together, but no exchange of ideas, feelings, kind of thing. So how we are trying to figure out the impact of media on the family relationships without asking questions. What is the channel that is having positive impact on your family? What is the channel that is having negative impact on your family? What is the channel that is giving educational inputs to your kids? We are not asking all the stuff, but indirectly we will frame such a brilliant questions uh, to figure out, to map the impact of the media on. I'm just giving some examples. Then coming to non-digital centricness, then it is time for you to contribute. Media anthropologists have developed an approach which is getting revived. That approach is non-media centric approach, getting popular, to trace the impact of media on the society and culture, the how relations are restructured and transformed and all those things. So anyway, how the digital ethnography, the second principle prescribed by Professor Sarah Pink and her co-authors of this book called Digital Ethnography and Principles and Practice. The second principle says non-digital centricness. The digital is the center in the digital ethnography. So how should we frame questions then? Is there any person try to um, share your ideas, please? Here the author says, moreover, as we often find when doing ethnographic research by approaching research questions indirectly, that is through something that is related to some fundamental way to the very thing we wish to learn about. We want to learn about digital influences on human beings, influence of digital technology and digital devices, and digital big data and cloud computing and social networks, social media networks, and all these things. We want to trace the impact and trace the transition and the transformation that is in the process. So we need to facilitate the indirect questions, not asking about any digital devices or softwares or digital tools or digital fluency or digital all these digital um, influences we want to trace, but we will approach non-digital centricness. That means we need to frame questions. Uh, how many hours you spend time without looking at the computer screen or oh no, we need to frame the questions that what are the time that you go for leisure where you exclusively spend time with family without any distractions. Then when actually nowadays the digital devices and the smartphones and digital gadgets have become so co-inhibiting living together, uh, carrying in pocket, in hand, or on, in the ears, the earphones, all the time. But spending time exclusively without any interruptions, focusedly with the family members or with your profession, or developing something. Uh, then comes the real picture of the local, normal, natural articulation of the key informants, how their lives are intertwined with these digital influences in their life. So that is the uh, that's one way of asking. Can you frame any other question, because we are going to have our own research problems and do digital ethnography. So how do you keep this principle in mind and indirectly trying to understand the trying to frame the questions that do not use this digital jargon at all, and trying to understand human relationships and their workings and their doing and their being, their conceptions, their self-image, the image of the world, their self-image, image of the money, image of the surroundings, how to track all these things, and what are the questions that we can develop, the pose to these people to figure out the influence of the um, digital world on them. That is the so the third principle is openness. The concept of openness uh, has increasing currency in contemporary academic and other discourse and practice. Openness is also a fundamental concept in that is sometimes called a digital culture, whereby open source, Creative Commons, and other forms of digital sharing and collaboration become ways of being and relating to others in relation to digital media. Transferring this concept of openness to the digital ethnography research process helps us to understand the process of doing digital ethnography in a way that is open to other influences, like those of speculative design or arts practice, as well as to the needs of other disciplines and external stakeholders with whom ethnographers might collaborate. What is this openness that they're talking about? The concept of openness has increasing currency in contemporary academic and other discourse and practice. Openness is also the fundamental concept in what is sometimes called a digital culture, whereby open source, Creative Commons, and other forms of digital sharing and the collaboration become ways of being and relating to others in relation to digital media. Transferring this concept of openness to digital ethnography research process. Transferring this concept of openness to the digital ethnography research process helps us to understand the process of doing digital ethnography in a way that is open to other influences, in a way that is open to other influences, like those of speculative design or arts practice, as well as to the needs of other disciplines and external stakeholders with whom ethnographers might collaborate. So the concept of openness has increasing currency in the contemporary academic world. The openness of digital ethnography, therefore, signifies that digital ethnography is a collaborative process. Indeed, it could be argued that all ethnography is equally collaborative in that the research encounter with others, as opposed to the distanced observational stance, is inevitably collaborative activity. That is, we make knowledge and ways of knowing with others, and not as lone researchers. However, returning to the parallel between digital ethnography and popular representation of a digital culture, which is also regarded as the collaborative and participatory context, we can see that the association of digital ethnography with collaboration invites a further scrutiny. Very interesting observation. Wow. This does not mean that digital ethnography would be essentially more collaborative than other renderings of ethnographic practice. Rather, it suggests that digital forms of collaboration, as integrated into digital ethnography research processes, invite different collaborative ways of co-producing knowledge with research partners and participants. So openness. uh, for us to learn about this digital world, the jargon, the phrases in the first part of my presentation that I have discussed with you are collected from the open sources on the online. So whatever is available on the digital spaces, and also we are going to collaborate with different partners, research partners, as well as the people, key informants, uh, while their natural articulation and video representations, audio messages, and text messages, and all these things they share, and they and we and also research partners, we are all collaborators. We are open to all these sources of information in creating the knowledge. Ethnographers, at the end of their ethnographic activity, they create knowledge about the local culture. So we create knowledge about the digital culture, and also the people with whom we are going to engage in digital ethnography. So we we need to carry an attitude of openness to learn from all possible ways to figure out um, the uh, the veracity of the information, and also the data collected, and in creating the knowledge. So these that is the that's what I'm trying to um, explain. So the openness, we can further explore about this concept in detail in the days ahead. Let us move to the fourth principle, reflexivity. Digital ethnography involves a reflexive practice. What is the digital reflexivity? Reflexive can be defined as the ways in which we, as ethnographers, produce knowledge through our encounters with other people and things. It is an approach that goes beyond the simple idea of bias, and that engages with the subjectivity of the research encounter and the explicatory nature of ethnographic writing as a positive and creative route through which to produce knowledge or ways of knowing about other people, their lives, their experiences, their environments. Reflexive practice is also considered to be an ethical practice in that it enables the researchers to acknowledge the collaborative ways in which knowledge is made in ethnographic process. Reflexivity, the digital ethnography involves reflexive practice. Reflexive can be defined as the ways in which we as ethnographers produce knowledge through our encounters with other people and things. It is an approach that goes beyond the simple idea of bias, and that engages with the subjectivity of the research encounter uh, and the explicatory nature of the ethnographic writing as a positive and a creative route through which to produce knowledge or ways of knowing about other people, their lives, their experiences, their environments. Reflexive practice is also considered to be an ethical practice that it enables researchers to acknowledge the collaborative ways in which the knowledge is made in the ethnographic process. In that context of digital ethnography, reflexivity does not necessarily take a different form to that which it would take in any other ethnographic process. However, we might think of the distinguishing feature in relation to the ways in which digital ethnographers theorize and encounter the world as a digital material sensory environment. Part of the ways that digital ethnographers might reflexively engage with their world is concerned with asking ourselves precisely those questions about how we produce knowledge. Our relationship with the digital are pivotal to the specific ways of knowing and being that we will encounter in the course of our research practice. Reflexivity, asking, stepping back from the picture and asking ourselves the questions that we ask to our key informants. We are asking the questions to ourselves: how we produce the knowledge, how do I know what I know, how do people know what they know. That's what an ethnographer will try to figure out and describe and explain. And the principle of reflexivity: how do I write what I write the way I write about people whom I encounter in the field sites, digital field sites. We are digital ethnographers. So we are going to enter the digital field sites. So we are going to have conversations, ongoing conversations, and inquiry, and we will try to understand what's happening in their lives, why it's happening, the way it's happening, and what happened to them when something happened to them. How do they take it, and how do they react to it? All these important questions we are going to ask, no doubt about it. At the same time, in producing the knowledge as ethnographers, the reflexivity, um, stepping back and asking ourselves the important questions, and the object, the idea of subjectivity, whether we are judging their cultures and biased towards their experiences, or either preconceived notions are controlling us, either our worldview is dominating the meanings given by the local worldview and trying to fabricate our meanings into their explanations and meanings. What do I do actually? What do I write? How do I produce the knowledge the way I produce? The questions, a lot of moral responsibility and a lot of transparency, a lot of accountability, a lot of respect for the local cultures or practices. And all these things are there. We study in our coursework, we are trained in our ethnographic practices and methodology and techniques. All these things, it is there, but we do carry our own worldview. We bring a different worldview to the table when we have conversation with the people from different other worldview. So you see, asking the reflection questions, looking at ourselves, what are we do? Uh, are we able to put aside our worldview stuff and focus on the local, digging deeper and asking and framing the nice and decent and acceptable and beautiful questions, and try to get the information that we needed for our the issue of research? So all these things, reflexivity is a principle prescribed by this Sarah Fink and her team of others in this book on digital ethnography, principles and practice. The fourth principle of reflexivity is important. It has its role to play while we produce knowledge, to go beyond the bias and because the worldview is a glasses that we wear. We look at the world. So when we go to the field work, we go with our own glasses, with our own worldview, without in our subconscious mind. It is controlling our life, our dress, and everything. You see? So we carry our worldview to the table, but we want to discover the worldview of the others. But at the same time, we are trained ethnographers. So we have ethnographer's worldview. Is it the glasses of ethnographer that we wearing, or glasses of our own the worldview that we come from? Which glasses are we carrying with us to the field sites, ethnographic field site or digital field sites? That is important. So that is what the fourth principle is about. The fifth and last principle is about unorthodoxy. Digital ethnography requires attention to alternative forms of communicating. Let me repeat it. Digital ethnography requires attention to alternative forms of communicating. Very good. Taking a digital approach enables us to acknowledge and seek out ways of knowing about other people's worlds that might otherwise be invisible and that might unanticipated by more formally constituted and thus less exploratory and collaborative and research approaches. Wow. This is important. Let me read it again. Uh, Taking a digital approach enables us to acknowledge and seek out ways of knowing about other people's worlds that might otherwise be invisible and that might be unanticipated by more formally constituted and thus less exploratory and collaborative and research approaches. They also account for the research process as being inextricable from the ways in which ethnographic knowledge is produced. Thus, in some cases, incorporating a degree of reflexivity into the ethnographic writing process. As instances of writing digital ethnography, these offers readers a set of examples. These others, they in each to support their principles. They have prescribed 5 principles: multiplicity, decentric, digital decentric approach. uh, all of these 5 principles. So they come up with the case studies from different countries of the world. So they try to support these principles by giving the examples of their digital ethnographic accounts. So so these unorthodoxy they're trying to explain by giving their examples. So if you go through that book and read the full details, you can have a nice understanding what they're trying to say. So this offers readers a set of examples in the sense the examples given by the authors in the book of both that we might learn through doing digital ethnography, how and where it might be practiced. So unorthodoxy. When we enter the ethnographic field sites, the real world field sites is different from when we enter the digital ethnographic field site, digital field sites. So here, the unorthodox, traditional methods, we need a little bit inclusive and more open and reflexive and multiplicity and all these principles are there. So these unorthodox approaches to methods dissemination enable new forms of continuity between digital ethnographic fieldwork, ongoing collaborations and dialogues with research participants, and a certain bringing together of the temporalities and sites of the research analysis and the dissemination processes. They thus show how a digital ethnography approach enables us to go beyond academia, beyond disciplines, and beyond the standard written production of academic scholarship. So unorthodox. That's why when we enter the digital ethnography, there will be some rupture between the traditional ethnographic methods and because we are entirely new world, a digital world, new world called digital world, which is full of competitions and uh, yeah. So this lot of changes, temporalities in the sense uh, some software will come and temporarily it will be successful. After that, another software will come and the previous software will be outdated. So temporalities on the digital spaces and the ongoing changes and interconnectedness. And which one is impacting which one, and which area of life is impacted by which digital influence. To trace all those things, we need kind of openness and multiplicity, and we need to ask questions differently to track the impact of the digital influences on people. So because these methodology, we are living in the world um, which is constantly changing and invaded by the digital influences, digital technologies, and almost saturated by the digital world, and a lot of co-inhibiting and the becoming part and parcel of the emerging cultures. So in today's hyper competitive world, innovation is a critical imperative. Delivering higher quality results faster and more cost effectively, innovation encompasses not just products and services, but also processes and relationships, and can benefit from new cloud enabled constructs such as idea markets and challenges, which extend the innovation teams beyond the company to the entire world. You see, uh, we are we should forsake the preconceived notions or kind of thing. So we should be very open, unorthodox, and we should be creative. We should be critical and reflective and reflexive, and we should see things. Try to understand, because we are living in a world which is hyper competitive world, and innovation is a critical imperative. Innovation is the law of the world that we are living in. Innovation after innovation, innovator technology after technology, and many things, new apps, new spaces, and many things are coming up. So innovation is the imperative, means innovation is the law of the culture now. So on that law, the culture adapts and shapes and reorients, molds, tunes, and the inculcate and the accommodate. All these things happens. So the world that we live, which is hyper competitive, innovation is the critical imperative, delivering higher quality results faster and more cost effectively. Innovation encompasses not just products and services, but also processes and relationships. That is important. So what we are going to focus on in digital ethnography, why we do, what are the processes that are at work, what are the how the relationships are structured and restructured and reoriented, how these things are happening due to the prevalence and prevalence of the ongoing processes that are at work. So, and benefit from the new cloud enabled constructs. See, we have understood some basic information about big data pipelining, correlating and cleaning the data and arranging the data and preserving the data, and based on the available data, matching the data to the context which we are in, immediately processing the data, and all those processes behind the screens and that are at work. At the same time, how the relationships, business relations, production relationships, and employee and management relationships, employers and employee relationships, and family relationships, and what are the ongoing processes, and also idea markets. This is interesting concept. Idea markets is a product of the cloud computing, idea markets, and challenges. And for this cloud, from the big data and the cloud computing and the applications are coming up, the idea markets or the new space emerging. So that idea markets, brand new ideas for application and implementation, for creating smarter the products and services, uh, smart products, smart customers, smart portals, and everything is smart. So digital. So how these idea markets and challenges, which extend the innovation team beyond the company they are working for, to the entire world. You see, their space unorthodoxy means we work for particular company. Okay, we have our own organization culture. Okay, so we need to follow the ethos of the company. Okay, it's okay, but unorthodoxy, that's what this team of digital ethnographers prescribe the principle. It's okay to listen to all those things, but the innovation is the imperative, the law of culture in the digital world. So how this innovation takes the company to the entirely altogether different level, a dominant presence in the digital world, the profits, the success and victory, and many other things that come along. So the unorthodoxy means breaking the barriers, the breaking the tradition, um, and the orthodoxy, reserved principles. No, it is breaking all these things and taking us beyond. The innovation team goes beyond the company and they look around the world and target these idea markets and the challenges provided by these digital pipelines and cloud computing and this big data from collected from across the world, across the companies, across the research think tanks, across the entire world. This big data is pooled together, preserved together, organized, structured, categorized, matched, and related, preserved, stored, and protected, and at the same time, and within real time frames, business real time frames, supplying the better idea, the best idea that works for the business, for the relationships. For example, in the US, 30% of marriages are happening on online proposals, you see. And also the same culture is extended to India. So breaking the barriers and the coming out of the orthodoxy and being open when they're looking for keeping the principle of multiplicity, asking the questions indirectly, and reflexive practice and all these things. So This is a very real good book for us to read and study. So, dear ones, I stop here. We will take up the other things, theoretical frameworks for study this digital world in the next session. So, thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, sir. You have got so much of patience, sir.
Thank you for the comment. Oh,
No, in fact, I was just wondering how you could manage to carry on so long like this. But it was really nice, sir. Listen. In fact, in between, I was also carried away. So when you asked me to put across the question, so I said, let me come into that picture.
that's interesting. Good. Thank you.
But so one thing is that when we talk, what I felt is that with this digital ethnography, not solely on digital alone, if also the normal ethnographic fieldwork maybe towards the end of the
Our training, yeah.
field. So a visit or a two could make a lot of difference. That is what I really felt.
Yeah, agreed. Fully agreed. Because basically we are going to apply ethnographic methods in the digital spaces. So without knowing ethnographic methods and methodologies and theoretical inputs that make sense to interpret the local cultures, it will be vague and shallow. So your idea is very credible and acceptable. I fully support your idea. We will do some sessions on that as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
So, yeah, in future we will be more. So give some time for interaction. Just I'm going on pushing and trying to push some information about the relevant things so that we will, yeah, get acquainted all
Sir,
this.
I believe in due course of time, this could be part of the syllabus.
Yes, this
Maybe
is the,
that is
yeah, sure.
with this pandemic that is going on. This particular thing has become a very catchy word as such. Then now that we are having our students will be going to collect the data, so maybe in this one may not be right away, but then this could be one of the aspects where the children students can also try out, get the this digital ethnography at the start, and then maybe half of the work will be completed through this digital, and then maybe towards the end of maybe a day or two where they could go and cross-check it. That would what I feel is that would have been very good for students as well in when they go for their field work. And that way
Yeah,
it saves time, it saves energy. That's what I felt, sir.
it saves money.
Very true, sir.
Thank
Yeah.
you, sir. Thank you very much for your long, long words and very much. I was very much impressed by your 5 principles of this ethnography, no, sir. Yeah, this is very a new principle to me, no. Yeah. I was very much interested in your talks, no. It's very good, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let me please open your the videos so that I can see you.
Just 1 minute, sir.
Okay, thank you. Oh, it is not visible properly. Thank you, Lahro Mary and um, Kaisam. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here, sir.
Please open this video so that I can see you.
I am not so much
Okay, okay.
acquainted with this technology. No.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay.
That was I was very much impressed this digital world. No.
Digital world, yeah. We need to explore a lot because we are in the beginning stage. So I am slowly introducing some concepts, and step by step we will go into the ethnographic methods, how they're going to apply to collect the data, and also to develop the research problem. And also, I told you that I will give you course outline so that the number of textbooks and number of uh, the
Yes,
articles
sir.
for reading. Yeah, yeah, I
Yes.
see you. Yeah, thank you. So, yeah, because I have less time, so I'm not able to contact you personally. But we are only because 50 students registered for the course, so they are seeing following the video recordings, and the things are going on. So for me also, this is a new stuff. I'm reading a lot, trying to figure out. So
The
for
one thing is that, yes, sir, side by side, we have our classes going on.
yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah,
that is
yeah.
why we cannot fully focus on one side. We were just wondering, had it been during the lockdown, this one in the month of May, where we were on full vacation,
Yeah,
but we have not made the best use of it. But
yeah.
anyway, sir, we are really enjoying it. Sir,
Oh,
myself, Somarani, Sir Shamchan, three of us are from the same department,
wow. Uh-huh.
in the same college, sir.
Oh, interesting. Very interesting. Yes.
We also we we also talking about yours. No, you did this very interesting topic during this pandemic. No, we enjoy
Exactly.
very much, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
It came at the right time, sir.
Yeah, yeah.
The course came in the right time.
Very true, sir.
Actually, we want to go to the field in this digital ethnography also, no, sir.
Yeah. So we will give some more sessions. After
Yeah.
that, we will prepare our research problem and develop our techniques, tools, and
Yeah.
everything. Then we will go undertake digital ethnography research. And
Yeah,
after that, we will draft it and we will publish it.
yeah. Thank you.
Okay, sir. That is the area that.
So Indian digital ethnographers are here, no? So our first batch, we should come up with seminal work and very which will make difference and which will be very informative and useful for the governments as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
We will give a try, sir.
Yeah, we will give it a try. Yes, exactly. And in the month of December, we are conducting a national National Applied Anthropology Congress. A National Applied Anthropology Congress. Our organization, Anthropological Association for Humankind (AAH), is organizing a National Applied Anthropology Congress.
Okay.
So
We'll
for
be
that,
looking forward to it, sir.
this digital ethnography, if you go to field digital ethnographic sites and conduct the research and how this digital ethnographic method is useful in studying this pandemic related or whatever the important public policy or health care or whatever the topic that is interested to you, you can prepare your manuscripts and get ready for in the December this National Applied Anthropology Congress. If you are interested in applied anthropology,
Yes,
Okay.
sure,
Sir, we'll
sir.
give a try. We'll give a try, sir.
yeah, that will be great. Yeah, very
Okay.
encouraging.
Okay. Then.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. And good night, sir.
Good night. Good night.
Good night. Good night, sir.
Yeah, see you later. Bye.
See you. Bye.
I'm ending this meeting. Thank you, dear ones. Uh, okay.